Danny works third shift sometimes, so maybe we'll call in here shortly. I'll call the January 19th meeting to order. I appreciate everybody being here. One of the first things that we need to do is approve the agenda. This will be an abbreviated meeting. It's our way of trying to get into the rhythm of our new meeting schedule, third Tuesday of every month. So have a motion to approve the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, I second it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's passed. Thank you. Does anyone here today have any conflict of interest or any appearance of a conflict of interest? And if so, please state whether you do and try to refrain from any business related to your conflict. You may have a conflict I need to bring to our attention. Okay, thank you. Phil, do we have any citizens on the line?
We do not.
Okay, so we'll say that we don't have any citizens' comments. Jackie, thank you for joining us today. I'll call on you when we get down under reports and other business.
Okay.
On the consent agenda, there's really nothing to go over. Emily will have those meeting minutes for us for the next meeting. Thanks, Emily. Under old business, we'll have an update on the new ABC store. I'm sorry to report that we've not heard anything from Charles Kane at this point as far as these figures. But what we're envisioning that'll happen, if I can kind of walk you down that road, is that Charles will give us a rental rate based on what he calls as a warm shell. And a warm shell space is the ceiling tile, the lights, the air conditioner, the dividing wall between the warehouse and the retail, and perhaps a bathroom. We've also talked about, the double door back there in the back. So I think those are things that he's already promised in our early discussions will be part of that lease rate. Now, what we've talked about with our designer, Rick Turner, is that instead of having this drop ceiling look, he wants to have an open ceiling, and it'll have the exposed air conditioning ducts and the LED hanging lights and those types of things. So what I anticipate having is once we get that first figure from Charles, he's also going to give us a quote for doing everything else that we need. Rick felt like that it would be better, instead of us hiring a separate contractor to do the finish up of the upfit, is to just ask Charles's people to do it. That way they can just pull one permit, they're there on site, they're set up, so we just write them a check for the difference in the cost. There'll be additional electrical that we'll have. We may have to pay a little bit for that mirrored glass between the office and the front. We may have to pay a little bit more for an extra office in there. So there's some things that we're likely going to have to pay for. So once we get that number, there'll be a difference. And how we approach that difference could be done in one of two ways. We can write a check for the difference, or we can say, well, Charles, just up this rental rate by X number of cents per square foot and just include it all in our rent. So, those things are still to come, but I just wanted to at least let you know sort of what we're preparing for in negotiating with the lease. Now, Rick has also given us estimates for the flooring, the lighting, and the fixtures. Now, the good thing about the lighting is we all feel like that Rick could deliver the lights on site cheaper than what Charles's people can do. So perhaps that, Charles is going to be responsible for the majority of the lighting in the building. But if we can bring the lights to him at a cheaper cost, that would be, I hope, a savings for us. So we're working that way. But as far as the flooring estimate, he's talking about a LVT. It's a wood floor look, snap tile, completely waterproof, and installed $14,000. Now, I didn't have the time really to call him back to confirm what that warehouse floor is going to look like. I don't know that it's going to be laminated for the whole space, but we'll find that out. But that's a good start on the number. At least we got something in mind as to what we're going to have to write a check
Okay.
for. The lighting was $9,400. It's very likely that Charles will pay for the majority of those lights, since he was going to provide them anyway. Okay? And then the fixtures, that would be the sales counter, all of the shelving that we saw in the drawings, fully installed, $69,515. When I was observing the renovation of the Franklin store, once those guys get on site with those fixtures, they get them up in less than a week's time. They turn this around pretty quick, so they know what they're doing, and I feel pretty confident that they'll deliver a nice-looking product for us. I think that includes signage and everything, or you designate inside the store the different types of liquors. So if that's included in there too. So it's a turnkey price. So all that together is, if you add the flooring and the fixtures, which we'll definitely pay for, that's about $73,500. And we got $195,000 cash from the sale of the existing store that can go towards the money that we have to spend. But I believe that when you couple this, the fixtures and everything, along with what it's going to cost to put inventory in the store, what it's going to cost to hire additional staff and all, we will need to borrow some money. So I've asked Bridget to kind of start thinking in her mind what staffing levels that we'll need for the new store. And then perhaps we can work together on that and get with Jackie and get some of Jackie's feedback and input, and we put a budget together for that. So if you'll take the lead on that part, then naturally you've become a member of the property committee with Phil and I, so you'll also be working with us on negotiating the lease. So, did I miss anything, Phil, to give everybody an update on where we are?
No, I think that's it. Well, Jackie's still waiting, I think, on an answer from the ABC Commission about what exact number we're going to have to include in the mandatory distribution.
Perfect. I was going.
But either way,
Do we need to purchase from like the ABC over, I don't know who.
Overlord?
Overlord. Like
ABC
a
Commission.
tiny package that goes into the store that is specific to, that we wouldn't be able to get through these contractors?
Signage?
Signage?
No. There's no specific requirements, as long as it's in compliance with the town's development regulations and site ordinance. And we do actually need to show the ABC Commission those signs so they can approve them beforehand, but they don't have any specific requirements. They just like to look at them first.
Okay, and where are those gotten from? Is that part of the price that we're looking at?
Yeah, there's some signage in there.
Okay,
The signage that you see on the store now, we just hired a guy here locally to do that for us, the graphics.
And then I anticipate Charles might have someone that they like to do business with for, on the facade of the building itself, because I assume they'll want to take responsibility for that.
because, and we'll have a road, something that will go up on the road.
There's
with the main sign.
a monument sign at the main entrances of and along U.S. Capitol Boulevard that's got it's a large monument sign, 12, 14 feet tall by 6 or 7 feet wide, and we'll get a little slit in there, plastic slit that says ABC Store, and I think Charles, the landlord, will help us with that as well.
Okay. I want to go ahead and apply with the ABC Commission to get their approval for us to open that store. So there's still a little bit of information yet that we need to gather. And everything's kind of dependent on Charles right now to give us some figures. Okay. Well, if anyone doesn't have any other questions or updates for the old business, then we'll go to new business, which is done, and then that leads us into reports. COVID-19 update or discussion? Bridget, do you have anything?
No, I mean, my time in the store was this past week, everyone was wearing their masks.
Good.
No issues with that.
Okay, good. Supplies okay? The supplies that you need?
They have some, it's on my list this week to see how much more they're gonna need. They
Okay.
had enough for immediate,
Okay.
but I think they will probably need more, so I'll get the order in for that this week. But they're disinfecting the terminal, and gas and things like that, so.
Phil, does the police department still have some of these wet ones?
We have plenty, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you ever need them, we, FEMA, like a few years ago, gave us, like, it's probably, if you stack against that wall, like 6 feet high, it's the whole wall. It's like
Oh, wow, okay. Well, I'll make
tens of thousands of them.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna get you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As many as you need.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I think it's funny story behind that is they were supposed to smell like citrus. This is my theory. I think they were manufacturer defects because they're supposed to smell like citrus, but they smell like coconut. And so I think it was like, we can't sell these, you know, and so they, you know, took a huge tax write-off and got rid of all the bad inventory. They gave it to local governments. They still work. The efficacy is there, right? You know, they kill
Right,
bacteria, but
right.
they just don't smell like citrus. Anyway.
Okay, I don't have any other business other than the fact that I've really enjoyed getting your feedback on the emails and everything. So, do you have anything?
I do not.
Did Danny join us?
Not yet, sir.
Okay, all right. So Jackie, do you have anything you want to report on?
So Phil already mentioned it. I am still waiting on ABC Commission to just confirm what number I should use in that distribution calculation. I'm hoping it's the 190, but I just want to confirm that. And then the other thing that I just kind of wanted to make y'all aware of is the contractor that put in the plexiglass around the cash registers forever and a day ago. He sent an invoice that would never complete a W-9 form, so we never released the check. Like, I have multiple emails going back and forth. But with the change of the year and needing to do 1099s, since I don't have a W-9 from him, we went ahead and just voided that check. And I will tell him that if he gives us a W-9, we'll be happy to pay him, but I can't pay him without that information. So he's gone silent. He hasn't responded to me, but I think it was one of Mary Margaret's, like, friends or contacts or something originally. So I just wanted you guys to, like, be aware that that was out there. The reason we haven't paid him is because he hadn't given us a W-9. So.
Yeah, I remember Mary Margaret was the referring person.
Well, I'm sure once he wants to get paid, he'll get in touch with you.
Yeah, that's kind of what, you know, I mean, he went back and forth with me for a while, and I was like, well, we need a W-9. I even told him, I was like, your check is ready at the ABC store, but you got to bring a W-9. And then he never showed up. So my guess is he wanted to do it under the table, and we can't do that.
Hey, Jackie, do you have a W-9 form? If not, I can email you one and you forward it to him.
Oh, I've already sent it to him multiple times.
Have you? Okay,
Like,
cool.
Blank form, like, included it in multiple email. Like, seriously, we've been back and forth, like, multiple times. I was going to send him one more email and tell him that because of the turn of the year and needing to issue 1099s, we voided his check. But as soon as I was, you know, kind of going to leave the AP sitting out there for a little bit, and then as soon as he gave us W-9, I'd be happy to write him a check. But that was where I was going to leave it for right now.
Okay. So I was reading some of the emails back and forth with Lori Lee, and somehow or another I got the impression that maybe the only thing we have to pay is the town's 3.5%. and not the education and law enforcement.
Yeah, so the way I interpreted that, and after just reviewing the statute that tells us how we need to pay what, is, there's a 3.5%, and that's on gross sales.
Uh-huh.
And then there's an additional 12.5%, 7.5%, which is for education, and 5%, which is for alcohol education, or vice versa. Either way, it's 12. That is on profit.
Okay.
So, yes, that's certainly good news.
Okay.
That's very good news. And then I'm still trying to work with our auditors on the best way to the best accounting treatment for kind of forgiving that additional money from last year that was payable because the old contract that we had. And my preferred treatment would be that we net that against this year's payable. So maybe, at the end of this year, the amount payable from the ABC board to the town would just be a lot less.
Okay.
If that makes sense, rather than trying to make it a little bit more complicated. But either way, I'll defer to the auditor on what he prefers as far as the presentation of that type of transaction. But we're working on that as well.
All right, great.
Yeah.
But we'll be sure to attend the town council meeting and thank all the commissioners.
Absolutely.
So, Bridget,
No big news really to report on yet. It's just been 1 week kind of in the store with everybody. Pretty positive reception so far. Everyone's been fairly accommodating. We did implement a new time attendance software this week, just so I can get a grip on what payroll percentage, labor costs are in the store. We've had 100% compliance execution with it since the first day. So I think that's been a positive change. So I'm working with Nikki for the February schedule. We're going to do it in a collaborative manner. I think I can potentially do a significant cut in payroll. So right now, lots of positives. Basically, I'll continue to send you guys a recap. It's just a lot of moving parts going on right now in the store.
Is that more efficient for you, Jackie, from the payroll perspective? Does that help you?
I believe it's going to help me, but we haven't seen it yet. So I've linked QuickBooks through, but we won't officially be able to start it until we change the payroll schedule. Because right now we pay, I'll pay on Friday through Friday, and so clock in, clock out won't really work for that because we got to project 2 days. But once we change that schedule, yes, it should make it way easier.
good.
And Jackie and I have discussed, and I've already informed Nikki and Lori, and we will give the rest of the team information regarding a specific date. So as Jackie said, right now they're being paid with a forecasted worked hours for Friday and Saturday at the end of each pay period. So we're going to change their pay period to include actual hours worked. But I'm giving them about 6 weeks to plan for that because it will cut one of their paychecks short. Like one will be shorter, one will be longer. So we are going to make that effective. I think February 19th will be the last pay date where they're going to be paid projected hours versus actual hours worked.
Hey, Bridget, while I'm thinking about that, it just popped in my head. You could possibly offer Lori and Nikki to use vacation. They have tons of vacation that normally gets rolled into sick because they don't use it by the end of the year. So we could pay them for a week's worth of vacation that first week, and then their paycheck would not get shorted.
Okay. I'll relay that to them. So once we have the official new pay period in place where they're, it's going to end for actual hours worked, it'll basically more effective for Jackie because it'll just automatically go into the books for her.
Great. One of the emails I saw you sent out, there was a little bit of discussion around security. Could you sort of tell us what some of those concerns were about?
It was around safety.
Safety?
Yeah, just around and it's not really a whole lot we can do about it, but around the back rooms, there's boxes stacked 10 high, and you literally can't walk back there, especially when trucks come in. And not a lot of efficiency around stocking and things like that because they can't get to stuff. So I'm working on a solution to that right now.
Okay.
Temporary.
Yeah, we had an option to put a little bit of racking in the warehouse to get some of that stuff off the floor and make it a little bit more where it wouldn't fall. But Lori didn't want to do that.
Well, and when I had my call with Jackie this morning, I'm kind of trying to walk the tightrope right now with spending enough money in the store that we can see an increase in sales from it to help with the new store opening,
Yeah.
but not spending money that isn't going to be a good return on our investment. I mean, we're still there for 6 months, so I don't want to just, if we were 30 days out, it would be different. I could say just stick it out for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But with us being, 6 months out, I do want to address some of those concerns with them just in a fiscally responsible manner. So.
Sure. Well, I don't think that the racking is that expensive that if it's a safety issue, I would want to go ahead and try to err on the side of.
Yeah. And we can, and that may help some, but with the amount that's back there, I don't think getting it off the floor is necessarily the issue. I think it's just, there's 700 cases back there, and the back room is big enough for, 300 maybe. It's
Yeah.
a lot. So I was able to, Phil helped me with getting Public Works to help remove this old 1,000-pound safe from the back room that actually gave them back a little bit of space back there. Not a lot, but a little bit. So that was a help. That's it right now.
All right. Hey, Emily, do you have anything you want to comment on?
Yes, sir, I have a few things. The first is with the new meeting schedules on Tuesdays, I will have agendas out the Thursday before the board meeting. So I'll need any agenda items by the end of the day, Wednesday, if we're pushing it no later than noon on that Thursday. Our next meeting, February 16th, I will have agendas out. Minutes from both of our January meetings will be included. I will not be in attendance for that meeting because I will be in clerk school, but everything should be sent out to you in the proper time, and I can use the recordings to get those minutes finished for you.
Okay, great.
As for the expiration dates for the board, me and Phil had to do some research recently, and we discovered that term expiration dates should be based on the creation of the ABC board, not on when the member was appointed. So I've set the expiration dates accordingly. I'm having some technical difficulties and can't pull that up right now, but it does shift Rick's from expiring this month to expiring in June of this year. And so I'll get that to the Board of Commissioners during their February meeting just to give them an update of where we stand on everybody's expiration date. We still have the 2 vacancies, and both of those vacancies, based on creation dates, will end in about 1.5 years. I don't know if that will help draw somebody in once they realize that they won't have a full 3-year commitment. Maybe somebody would just want to get their feet wet and decide that, hey, 1.5 years is worth trying. So I don't know if that'll help us get some recruits for the ABC board or not. And that is it for me.
Okay, thank you. Phil, do you have anything?
The only thing I was going to mention was what Emily just mentioned, that we're still recruiting new members. So if you're aware of anybody in the community that would like to serve and do their public service for the town, we would greatly appreciate them volunteering, and certainly grateful to have all of your assistance.
Do we have any need to go into closed session today? I have. Okay. All right. Well, we covered all of our business today. Hey, Austin, did you want to have an opportunity to address the board for any reason?
I didn't really have anything else to really add. I know you mentioned a couple times about waiting on the commission. We're still working on that issue. We're going to get back to you on that one. And I might get with Emily. It was Emily, right? It sounded like you were talking about board appointment dates there for a minute at the end. I just would like to have a record of that kind of stuff. So I will, I'll probably get with her and just kind of see those same kind of things. But other than that, that's all I really had.
That's right, Austin. It was Emily. You can feel free to email her, or Emily, if you could just send Austin the record that you have of the current positions and their expiration dates, please.
And other than you guys recruiting for your board members, do you have any timeline on that? Because I know that's something that was brought up over here is you can't really keep those open indefinitely. So either they got to be filled relatively soon, or we're going to have to bring them back down to 3 board members and then look to expand later if you need to. You see what I'm saying? They don't want you to keep it open all the time.
We're trying to recruit as quickly as we can. I don't know what else to say, other than if you could define soon, then that would be helpful
Sure.
to us.
And I'll see what they say. Just do you know like how long have they been vacant?
I think this would be maybe the 2nd or 3rd month after the resignations. I think they were in February, I want to say. Or, no, I'm wrong about that. It's, I think October. Is that right? About right, Emily? October or November? So I guess this would be the 4th month.
Okay.
Yes, both of them, September was their last meeting, so October would have been the first meeting without, Sam and Mary Margaret.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we'll just keep touching base, and we'll have a more clear guideline, and we'll look at it next month.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys.
Okay. There is no other business coming before us. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Have a great day.
Thank you all.